In the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, the author tells the story of his life, where he had two fathers. The first was the so-called poor dad, who was always focused on increasing his salary, while the rich dad worked on building what are called assets, which generate income and made him so wealthy. The author, like many others who have done and continue to do the same, can spend the rest of his life sitting at home while his assets work for him. The definition of an asset is something that puts money in your pocket, and today we're going to talk about 12 assets that will make you financially independent. Many people associate starting a business with risks, but isn't it riskier to live your whole life in a single job, depending on the salary from that one job to get by? As long as you're healthy and working, money flows into your account each month. But what if, for some reason, you can no longer work? Can you see that this also has its risks? The first asset on our list, which is the most sought after and perhaps the most important of all, is building a business. Now, let's turn our attention to where we live. We all need a place to stay, and businesses need a place to operate. With the growth of cities, the value of land and whatever is built on it tends to increase as well. Therefore, investing in real estate is one of the most traditional and safest ways to invest. Look around you, and you probably know someone who, even without significant financial resources, has made and continues to make good money by building small houses and renting them out. The problem with this type of investment is the initial cost of building a house. Even a small house costs a relatively high amount to build. A great solution to this problem is the third asset on our list: real estate funds. These are the pooling of money from various people and companies to make large purchases and, in turn, secure better rental returns. It's a great way to invest, one that I personally use, and you can start with as little as $10. And since we're talking about real estate funds, another way to invest in assets is through stocks, which are actually small pieces of large companies. Instead of having your own business, you can become a shareholder in big companies. If you invest for the long term, it's one of the best ways to achieve high returns. Because even if some companies don't grow enough or fall short, others may take off, which is explained by the convexity theory, which essentially shows us how compound interest works exponentially, potentially generating immense gains. Many people focus solely on profits, sometimes trying to calculate what yields the most and attempting to predict the future. However, something that is unpredictable is a crisis, like the one we experienced during the COVID-19 pandemic. So, when we invest our money in assets, we also need to think about crises. That's where stores of value come in, things like gold, dollars, euros, and jewelry. In short, it's a reserve that is not aimed at getting rich, since stocks have the best historical performance, leaving the store of value far behind. But the idea of having a store of value is for protection during severe crises, as these are assets that are not abundant and tend to appreciate during such times. So far, we've covered the most common assets, those that are available for almost everyone to own. From now on, let's broaden the concept of asset value, opening up the range for more ways to seek financial independence. Another form of asset is intellectual property. And what is that? These are your creations that can generate income, like copyrights for music or books, a technology you created that you can sell or patent and then sell the idea to a company. Or more broadly, even creating a brand that identifies the power of your products, which can also be sold or generate income. They say that if you take all the money from a rich person, within a few months or years, they'll be rich again. The reason for this is our next asset, which is networking. By knowing influential people in different niches and already having a good reputation with them, the path to wealth is already paved. There was a time when you needed a large store and a lot of stock to sell anything, or you needed a big billboard on one of the busiest streets in the city to make money with advertising. Today, with the internet, that has changed and become more practical. With a website or other content distribution channels like a blog, social media, or YouTube itself, you can invest in content production, which can lead people to buy a product or just to watch an ad, like the one you might have seen at the beginning of this video. Alright, so far we've talked about the most common and some of the most unique forms of assets. Now, Let's take a step further and discuss the assets that most people don't talk about, but that may be the most powerful of all. And what is the most valuable asset in the world that even the richest people have just like the rest of us? This asset is your time. Money can be earned or lost, but time always slips away. It never comes back. Flávio Augusto, a Brazilian billionaire, once said he would trade all his wealth to be young again. That's why this is the asset you should value the most. Invest your time as wisely as possible, whether by collecting moments with the people you love or by trading this time for knowledge and skills, which are the next assets on our list. Many people worry and debate about who our next president will be. But what can have a greater impact on your life isn't that. It's the knowledge you possess. If you have knowledge that others don't, you will always have a source of wealth that can be used in various ways, regardless of who the president is. Investing in knowledge always pays the best interest. So, the more specialized knowledge you have, the more it aligns with what other people or companies want, and the more it aligns with what you love to do, the more you'll be paid for it. Another asset is your skills. A skill is knowledge in practice. It's what you know how to do, with or without money. People say there's a lack of jobs, but what's really lacking are people with specific skills. So, work on your skills. They're a great asset for your entire life. If there's anything to envy in someone, I would envy their interpretation of the world. Because often we have the same opportunities as someone else, but only that person realizes that it can change their life and the lives of many others. What I like to do is try to delve into the mindset of highly successful people. For example, something Elon Musk said is that he'd rather be optimistic and wrong than pessimistic and right. What benefits has that brought him? What we do know is that having a growth mindset focused on dedication, effort, and training opens your eyes to new opportunities in life. And it's these opportunities that can make you financially free. And now, our final habit, the one that can help you overcome all challenges to achieve financial independence, is creativity. Creativity is when we can improve something simply by doing things differently. It's when we reach a destination by taking a different path, not the one everyone else takes. There are thousands of ways to be creative. This channel is one of them, combining book reviews, something not so popular, with explanations involving animation, something that captures attention. You can also do something similar wherever you work. And those were the main assets that will make you financially independent. I hope you enjoyed it, and don't forget to invest in these assets. Subscribe to our channel if you're new here, and I'll see you in the next video.